Yeah, I have to say I'm very pleased with my little Audi metal cutting bandsaw. I mean, it was 150 quid all bar a penny, which for a portable metal cutting bandsaw is pretty good value for money. I mean, most of them are well over 200 quid in the UK. Right, let's have a look at this. There we go. Just hopefully I can keep my hands out of the way so you can see what I'm actually doing. And there you go, one side cut off, and I'll just do the same on the other side. Okay, so we're back over on the Shoreline, and I've got the piece of 1/4 inch steel plate mounted in the engineering vise on the Shoreline. Let's close in on that so you can have a proper look at it. There you go. And obviously the job now is to mill that edge nice and flat and smooth, and I've set it up in the vise using the highly technical method, otherwise known as calibrated eyeball. But yeah, got it straight. This is cosmetic. These sides are sort of cosmetic. Obviously you want them as symmetrical as possible, but they are basically cosmetic. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to mill that flat, hopefully. Yeah, speed about 1000 RPM, and we'll just touch off. There we go. And we'll mill off this high spot at this end first. Well, I'll keep going with that until I get down to the line, then I'll flip it over and do the other side. And I'll come back to you when we're ready to round off the ends. In the end, I decided to not use the same technique that I used on the Conrod to round off the ends of the crank. Mainly because you can't, it works fine with aluminium because that's easy to cut, but with steel you really need the piece clamped. And I couldn't really find a way of doing that. So basically what I've done with this is that end I simply rounded off using the bench disc sander. This end I took the corners off using the bench grinder, and then I finished off the curve using the disc sander, and it's come out all right. It still needs to be you know, a proper clean up, but basically that piece is now done. So the parts are coming together. So the next stage is to make these. Well, you can see that. They call them shoulder screws, and there's 3 of those required. Fairly simple turning job. This is brass with a 832 thread on the end. Enough gap here to go through the pivot points on the various different items, and also allow for a washer too, because it does say you require 3 washers. And then a head. Now I might see if I've got some hex bar, because they say to make this out of round stock and then slot the head like a cheesehead screw. But I mean, if I've got some hex stock that's the right size, I can then turn that down to do this part, and the head will be hex, which I actually quite like, but rather than screws. But yeah, we're getting there. It's very definitely coming together. As you can see, we've got most of the parts now. Come out all right so far. All very basic and sort of machining type jobs. But yeah, it's we're not far off. Once I've made those shoulder screws, we're not far off being able to put this together. I've still got to make a base up for it. I haven't quite decided yet what I'm going to use, but that's where we are so far.